Hey guys, my name is X Factor. I hope you're having a great day, and I've really tried to avoid posting a couple videos on YouTube with Star Wars Battlefront II covering all the crazy stuff that EA executives had said and where their headspace is when it comes to disrespecting the community in general and trying to dip their hands back into microtransactions in Star Wars Battlefront 2 tied directly into the progression system and not going the way of cosmetics. But I think we're going to cover that along with the same progression system that's available in Star Wars Battlefront 2, where you get power-ups based on opening loot boxes or cards or crates or whatever you want to call it, being in the new UFC 3 game. Now, it's only available for one mode online, but it's the same idea that Andrew Wilson's been putting in every EA game for quite some time. More than likely, you've seen video breakdowns on how the economy of EA games have drastically changed. If you know anything about their stock and how they earn their income, the growing majority of their income every year is increasing from microtransactions. It's done $1.6 billion before. It's more than likely this year going to be well north of $2 billion. On a $4.6 to $5 billion company. Their game sales are actually shrinking on how they make money. Maybe the DLC is shrinking as well, but the microtrans are growing exponentially. But all this footage that you're watching right now is from today, the second Battlefront patch, which got a lot of minor issues, some of which were annoying. For those of you who did not know, this game was absolutely unplayable on PC for 6 or 7 days, primarily in North America. There were reports that people were affected in certain regions on Xbox and PS4, and even in EU. But in North America, you would rubber band, not just on Kashyyyk every 5 to 7 seconds, but you would absolutely crash into anything and everything flying because it was a laggy, rubber bandy mess. Remember the launch of BF4? Yeah, it was that bad. The good news is DICE finally commented on it 6 days later, and this patch seems to have remedied all of it. There's nothing more annoying than when you're trying to use an ability, it goes off on your screen, then all of a sudden, the game rubber bands back, and it says, wait a minute, you didn't use that ability. So as you're playing something like Assault, you bust out your scan dart. On your screen, you hear the noise, you see the little scanner go out, but the server says, nah, that didn't happen. You turn the corner, ready to blast people with your gun, and you still have your scan dart out, only for that little marshmallow to shoot out, ultimately getting you ass blasted absolutely instantly. But it's something everybody suffered through, and flying was by far the worst experience. Heroes versus villains seemed to be unaffected, maybe because it was smaller server counts. But another thing that came with that was the AFK farming was getting extremely bad. Obviously, people on console were able to tie rubber bands on their controllers and walk away because servers would keep you in game. It might mitigate you to a different server, but it'd keep you going and you'd eventually spawn in. PC, a little bit tougher. People actually wrote scripts and bots that worked successfully. In my time playing today, the only person that I saw go AFK was eventually kicked from the game. We didn't have anybody farming credits in the game in Heroes vs. Villains, which is great because enough people already rage quit that mode to begin with, and you end up with a lot of 4v3s or 4v2s once people get paid to Boba or paid to Vader or paid to Han Solo. It gets really rough. So we had a lot of nice, crazy, competitive, and fair games, which is a nice change of pace. If you're a fan of Starfighter Assault like I am, there's actually a lot of cleanup done on multiple maps. For those of you who are unaware, the collision was pretty bad in certain spots. You might be an aggressive pilot like myself, where you're trying to eke around something to dodge a missile, or maybe prolong a lock, or just entangle a couple of bad guys where it buys you a couple more seconds to pick a target and eliminate one of them. Well, multiple spots and areas, you might be clear 2 or 3 meters even, and you simply blow up. Forget scraping the belly or being less than a couple feet or a meter away. You're just simply defeated. Nobody in your kill cam. Clear as day. Just kaboom. And I'm not talking about Slave 1 Space Duke coming down on you. Nobody around. It actually happened the other day. Spawned in, flew straight, blew up. That seems to be cleaned up quite a bit. Although not perfect, DICE still needs to continue to improve upon this because that's a game mode where centimeters absolutely matter when it comes to the difference of a skill of a pilot, buying you time for your cooldowns, or maybe just trying to dodge that lock or get your health back up and armor before you go back into the ringer. So all in all, the 2 patches that we've seen so far have addressed minor issues, glitches, and bug smashing the game. And I know what you're asking. What's up with credits? What's up with crafting materials, aka scrap? And what's up with the progression system? Believe it or not, DICE has actually reduced scrap that you receive in the hero crate. They've actually nerfed some of the crafting materials and scrap that you get, which is absolutely unbelievable because that is the true grind in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Once you get through the anniversary hours, the 50 or 60 hours played, maybe you ground out all your weapons, maybe you did all of your easy achievements or unlockables to get 250 credits there, 15 scrap there, a couple crystals here and there. You've maybe acquired Vader and Luke, but you really don't have anything for star cards because of all the things that are tied to it. When we're talking about star card progression, not only do you have to worry about crafting a couple cards, but you actually have to worry about how many star card points you have in your hand. And they haven't reduced that at all. And at certain times, depending if it's a hero or a basic class like Assault or Heavy, the requirements to craft a purple are north of 20 points in your hand. So not only do you have to get lucky unlocks when it comes to opening crates, but you have to have 20 points in your hand. Most of it is utter bullshit that you will never use before you can make one purple, which would be your 21st point, to make your second, 22nd point, then to make your third, which will be your 23rd point. Now, everybody talks about purples costing 480 crafting material or scrap, so you've got that times 3 if you want to max out one class. But how many scrap and crafting and how many crates did you have to open to get those 20 points in your hand? For those of you who do not know or are new to my channel, we decided to do kind of a trial to see how bad the pay to win, pay to have an advantage, or pay to save time was in the game. We spent 180 hours. Well, I'm now 90 hours in the game, and the progression has absolutely stalled. Sure, I'm sitting on roughly 3,000 scrap, but if you think about it, that really doesn't give me much room unless I've already got the points in my hands. I'm just crafting a blue or a purple here and there. 3,000 scrap only gets you the ability to max out 1 or 2 things that you don't have loaded up. And I know what you're thinking, X Factor, aren't you already loaded up on multiple things? No, I only have several purples because of the deluxe edition. And of course, I've crafted maybe 3 purples up until this point. So that's 180 spent, plus the game, plus 90 plus hours. And remember, once you get through the honeymoon stage and getting those simple achievements done, the grind becomes absolutely abysmal. And as talked about by many people in many places, EA is trying to double down. Jorgensen has reiterated that microtransactions will return to the game. Quote, "We're not giving up on the notion of microtrans," he said. "We're learning and listening to the community in terms of how best to roll that out in the future, and there's more to come as we learn more. But I would say we're certainly not changing our strategy. We think the strategy of deeply engaging games, keeping the community together, and allowing people to play those games with new content coming via events over time is critical to the future of our business. We feel like we've nailed that in the sports games, and we'll continue to try and find the best model that works in the non-sports game." So not only was it in a slew of EA games, recently Need for Speed, the Madden, the FIFA, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the upcoming UFC 3 beta, which is available now. But what are the chances, because Respawn sold, that it's in a Titanfall? What are the chances it's already baked in to Battlefield 2018? And that game called Anthem that had quite a bit of hype around it, most certainly wrapped up and in Anthem. That could be the future of EA games, which to me is absolutely depressing. Gone are the days of paying $60 to $80 for a copy, maybe buying some simple cosmetic items. No, we're talking massive progressive grinds, or you can pay a bunch of money to save yourself a ton of time, if not pay to win or pay to have advantage. What do you guys think? Let me know. As always, guys, thanks for watching and hanging out. We'll see you soon.